How's it going, everyone? We are here to do some stuff, pretty much, right? Am I right, Jason? Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, week 15, you hardly know that it's week 15, to be honest.
Yeah, no. DraftKings quarterbacks is what we're reviewing. Pretty much every week there's at least a few Twitter spelling errors. That is always me. So if you do follow the Twitter account, be aware. As with my Twitter account, that there will be spelling errors. But like a family member, you accept me for who I am, and you appreciate the good stuff, and you take the bad with it. You know what I'm saying? Like
It
that's
was
what the viewers have to do.
yesterday you sent out a tweet, and no more than a minute later did I slack you and go, Russ, it's week 15.
I definitely I threw out a week 14 cheat sheet or something tweet.
He
Salary
doesn't even, he doesn't
exploitation.
even know what the tweet was
Yeah,
about.
I don't even. I think it was salary exploitation. But either way, week 14, week 15, sort of a big difference. But
It's all football when we
yeah,
come
yeah,
into it.
yeah, yeah. And if you notice, I moved to my room. I don't know why I'm so pasty white. It looks like I'm Casper over here.
You know what I
But
just noticed is the bass that's on your wall.
yeah, what do you think? I caught that in '89.
Does it talk? Is it one of those talking bass?
I caught it in '89 at the
I'm sure you
Deerfield
did.
the Deerfield River.
Yeah. Yeah, and that plastic lake.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let's get a nice close up of that bass. Look at the red. You can see the red. It's still bleeding from when I caught it. Caught it with a, a spear. I caught it with a spear. You can see the spear wound right in
Well done.
right near the gill. You know what I'm
Well
saying?
done, Russ. Yes,
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah.
Good driver.
Cash game quarterbacks. You picked a bunch of just Shimolians over here. Oh, the definition of just people that make you angry on Sundays, other than Derek Carr. Derek Carr against the Chargers. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, this is obviously the better one of the group here. 6,300, relatively cheap, and I think we're coming off of your running back podcast, and obviously the expensive backs are certainly playable this week that you want to get exposure to. That pretty much means for me paying down at quarterback. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like Matt Ryan a lot. So if you do want to pay up and you have that luxury, you can go ahead and go that route. So those are the top two options. But you get a good $1,000 discount from those guys to Carr, who's on the road at the Chargers, a guy who plays well on the road. And you're looking at this defense. I mean, banged up. Joey Bosa left the game. It's obviously been a big thing for them of late. Obviously, Casey Hayward has done a great job filling in. But overall, still not a defense I'm going to be shying away from. Carr had a great game earlier in the season against them. I can see it again. 3 straight DK point games before the matchup against Kansas City. San Diego's allowing 19 DK points per game to QBs, 11.1 yards per completion. Obviously, he has some good cheaper pairing options with Michael Crabtree and Cooper as well.
So hear me out. Something you said just reminded me of Three's Company. Like I feel like your voice was in the rhythm of the Three's Company theme song. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Three's Company too. Yeah. So Derek Carr, I'm cool with it. I've had a tough time figuring out between Crabtree and Cooper this year, but overall, certainly willing to give it a go. And you mentioned you like paying down. I like paying up. You know what I'm saying?
How?
Like,
How are you paying up?
Pay up for running back, pay up for quarterback, pay up for receiver, pay up for tight end. I mean, it's pretty simple if you ask me.
You live in this fantasy world where I don't know what's happening in your lineup construction where you're playing Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, David Johnson, and Le'Veon Bell on the same lineup somehow. Yeah. I don't know how.
And you got to slide in Jimmy Graham too.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit more realistic.
Yeah. Joe Flacco, obviously pass attempts galore this season, even with the new offensive coordinator. Against the Eagles at 5,700, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, this one's a value. Obviously, Joe Flacco's a guy that this is the first time he's actually popped up in my article, I think, this season. Took 15 weeks, but here we are. look at this one, Philly's allowing the 12th most fantasy points to QBs over the last 5 weeks. That's been a lot because they failed to get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. Allowing 12 yards per completion this season, pretty high amount. I like the wide receiver matchups here for a lot of these guys like Steve Smith. In a good spot. Dennis Pitt, I don't even mind this week. So you look at Philly, 67% of the touchdowns scored against them have come through the air. I think Baltimore here, without a real run game, a sneaky team total, and obviously, a home matchup here. I think this is kind of where you're looking to get some exposure to in terms of value. So 5,700 below 6K, this allows you to kind of pay up elsewhere. I think Flacco's who's going to hover around basically 20 DK points I could see this week. And it also has, a couple of pairing partners like Steve Smith if you want to use. I definitely don't mind him.
So something that interesting watching that game last week, Mike Wallace came up lame at the end of that game. So I think Steve Smith is setting up to be a really strong play this week. I don't know if Wallace is going to miss practice or miss this game, but I'd imagine he's limited. He rolled an ankle, so something to be aware of for sure. GPP quarterbacks, the ghost of Carson Palmer. You are just going down death row of just trash this year. Carson Palmer versus the Saints, 6K. Obviously, love that price. What are you looking at?
Yeah, coming off a horrible game, but I don't think any quarterback in that type of weather would have a good game last week. It was just torrential downpours basically throughout the entire game. Heads back home, where he's been a lot better, 93 passer rating compared to a 70 on the road. So obviously it's been there. Good team total against the Saints defense that ranks 26 per Football Outsiders, 21% DVOA. You look at Palmer here, I don't even mind him pairing with David Johnson, given the fact that Johnson's been such a good receiver in the passing game over the last 6-7 weeks or so. I like Palmer's value. I think there is still upside. I think 20 DK points is possible. I think you can even go higher than that. I would not be surprised to see really the Cardinals hang a crooked number. I think 26, I was expecting a little bit higher team total, but I really like him as kind of a pivot off of Atlanta because I think Atlanta's going to be a good exposure for a lot of guys this week. So I like the Cardinals, man. I think Carson Palmer's an interesting way to go in GPPs.
Is that like Crooked Teeth by Death Cab for Cutie?
No, but that's probably the only actual song that I like by them.
When people say a crooked number, what do they mean? Like a good number?
Yeah, like a high number, like 42.
Like 3?
They could hire.
Like
they could. No, they're going to hang like 43, 45 points on this week.
Like one Chandler Catanzaro field goal? Like 3?
No, I'd take 1 because that means they're scoring touchdowns.
Oh, no, 3 total points. Yeah.
No, because that would just be a sad day for Week 15. A sad day for our bankrolls.
Yes, sad day. In terms of stacking options, are you looking at stacking anyone, or are you just kind of looking at naked Palmer?
I'll use him with Johnson. I don't mind him.
Fitz?
I like Fitz. If Michael
JJ Nelson?
Thank you, Russ. Just let me speak, damn it.
Okay.
If Michael Floyd sits out this week, you got the DUI after the game, which leaving Miami after that performance, I would too. I would. JJ Nelson's worth a flyer. I think he's worth a flyer either way in a GPP. So I think you can look. There's always that home run threat. Jermaine Gresham's another cheap guy. There's a lot of different ways you can get exposure to the Cardinals this week.
That's actually a great point on Michael Floyd. Like, we got to give this guy a break. He was coming off a rough game.
And the Dolphins almost tried to blow that game at the end. I don't know if anyone watched, but Damian Williams was fighting for the end zone and time almost ran out.
Unreal. Colin Kaepernick versus the Falcons. This is one of my favorite plays of the week. Kaepernick coming off 2 bad weeks. Facing this Falcons team that just put up a crooked number on the old Rams there. And, they're not that good. They have a few good players, but they're not that good. Kaepernick's certainly a guy that can take advantage of some of the weaknesses in this team. I don't care who he throws to. Vance McDonald obviously on IR, but I think he's a really interesting play this week. So what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, below 6K, so we get him a little bit cheaper than what we've seen over the last 2 weeks. I think obviously the game in Chicago, weather was bad. We look at last week, they didn't have to throw the ball, they didn't have to chase the game from behind because they were leading for most of it. They just gave the ball to, Carlos Hyde, let him do his thing, as really anyone would do at that point. So this week's going to be a little bit different. 5,800 on the road. Falcons, I mean, there's numerous pieces that you can get exposure to this week. You're expecting a huge, huge outburst of offense. I mean, team total over 32. So you're obviously looking at Kaepernick to kind of chase this game from behind. Falcons allowing the most DK points per game to opposing QBs. Kaepernick has that rushing upside. Also gives you a pretty good rushing floor, averaging about nearly 50 rushing yards per game. So that's 5 points right there. And as you point out, I mean, there's a couple good guys on this defense, but overall, I think with basically everyone banged up in that secondary, he should have an easier time throwing it.
And I love how Kaepernick's just tampered down any hope and optimism about him the last 2 weeks in terms of fantasy. He just tampered down that ownership the last 2 weeks, just crushing people's dreams, including mine last week. But hey, I'll take it. I think this is an interesting rebound week. Eli Manning versus the Lions. Yeah, I mean, Eli versus the Lions.
Let's talk about it. So he's in value. He's not a cash game guy. He's a GPP guy. So don't play him in cash, please. Lions have been better of late, but still a bottom 5 pass rank, 30.5% DVOA. Eli Manning here. So I think this is a contrarian way to go because I'm probably only going to be playing him with Odell Beckham. I don't think I can really split the two. 74% of the Giants' touchdowns come through the air. Eli Manning much, much better at home. 291 passing yards per game at home compared to 208 on the road. 14-9 in touchdowns, 9-4 in interceptions. So he is much better at home. And I think this one's kind of sneaky because I just still can't see the Giants running the ball. Like, they're going to score points in this matchup, but I think it's going to come through the air. I could really see one of those 3 touchdown games from Eli this week with, a pair maybe going to Odell Beckham. And this would obviously be a swerve off of those popular running backs because I don't think paying up for Odell Beckham on DraftKings is going to work well with kind of punting a lot of other positions to fit in a David Johnson or Bell. So I think Eli OBJ kind of works well with guys like McCoy, Freeman, Coleman, that type of range where, Zeke as well. There's a lot of upside there, but you're getting that just a little bit lower discount from guys like Bell and Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to pay down at a position, that's fine. But I just prefer, I'll just probably go with Rodgers. Rodgers, Johnson, Bell, Evans, Beckham.
There's a weird options thing that's only just available for you. It's like unlimited salary, and you.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You just throw them in and hope it accepts it. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, yeah, I think that's an interesting play. Eli Manning always going to be that inconsistent guy. But, if he shows up with a good day, could be a huge day for Odell Beckham. We haven't really seen many good quarterbacks against the Lions, so could be a high upside matchup for sure. Heading out for the week, is there anything else you want to throw in there?
I know these are ugly names. Don't come after me with pitchforks. I told you if you want to pay up for Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan, you can do it. But I'm taking a chance on some of these guys here, these cheap guys. I think with the additions of Johnson and Bell and this price tag, these are reasonable floor guys in this matchup.
Agreed. Certainly, I joke around, but yeah, you're going to have to pay down in multiple spots fitting these, running backs in basically Russell Westbrook territory at this stage. So, as always, good luck with your lineup construction. As always, if you want to check out this article, head over to dailyfantasycafe.com. If you like what we're doing here on these videos, give us a like and subscribe. If you want to comment on how pale my face is, that's certainly free game. Or the bags under my eyes, those are also free game. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.